No. We did. We went to this played at Farmer's Market.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming out on a lovely rainy Tuesday night. How are you all doing? Great. Well, I think this is a great way to improve your week, is to come out and hear some amazing music by an artist who has toured a long way to come here. Let's see, I just want to check in with you all. How many people have never been here before? I like to double check. Great. Well, we've been doing this for some time and we're going to continue doing it. So we have a mailing list and a website and we are live streaming our shows. So if you ever want to check what we're doing, just check out our live stream. For people who've been here before, I know many of you probably know that we're almost up to 600 shows. I've kind of brought that up, but it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. A lot of different kind of music has been through here, so I'm kind of grateful that you're all coming back and hearing music again. And we also live streaming, so I want to welcome those folks. Hi, Mom and Dad! Thanks for tuning in. I'm sure other people are there too, so always like to welcome people on the live stream. And after the show, you can always go check out what was happening here tonight, and if you have a favorite song, and you can come and listen to it. So this is the first time I've met Alice, and the first time I've heard her music live, so I'm really thrilled to have Alice Wallace here. And actually, it's funny, because one of the first times I saw you online, you were performing with Melody Walker. Is that right?
Probably.
Yeah, so, anyway, that's kind of one of the first ways I came to your music, but then I became intrigued because I started listening to more of it online. So I'm really thrilled that you're here in person, and so without further ado, let's welcome Alice Wallace.
All right, getting the full Northwest experience here. Welcome.
I forgot to mention that we were talking earlier about doing one longer set, being it's midweek, dark rainy night. Maybe one longer set would work better for people.
But if anyone needs a bathroom break or something, let me know. We could always take a
break or cookie,
or you just sneak off.
Exactly.
And be offended. So yes. What's that?
Live stream now.
Yes, everyone will watch you do it, but we won't judge. So, and I did climb the what's it called, the Multnomah Falls today, which was incredible. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm still just like in awe from that experience earlier. So I'm really glad I got that. And when you go on a cloudy, cold day, there's not that many people there. No. So it was perfect.
Smart.
Yes, indeed. And so I've been coming to the Pacific Northwest. Somehow it always happens in November. Suddenly I've gotten on this November pattern. But I do live in Nashville. And actually I've been starting my shows with a song that's on my brand new record, which is my first Nashville record. And this is my song about moving to Nashville, sort of. Because I moved to Nashville from Southern California, where I had been living for about 12 years. I moved to Nashville in December of 2019. And if you think about it, it didn't turn out to be the greatest time to make a big life change and move to Music City to pursue your dreams. A few months later, everything shut down. But I knew that moving to Nashville was going to mean I had to write a song about it. You know, you move to Music City, you got to write a song. But then the world shut down and I pretty much stopped writing songs because I realized when I couldn't do this thing, I wasn't as inspired to write. Like, this is my favorite part, is writing a song and then sharing it with people. I mean, I did a lot of Facebook live streams, but it's just not the same. You know, although I do love some live streams. Thanks for tuning in, whoever's out there. But when for 6 months all I got were clap emojis instead of actual applause, it just, it just doesn't resonate the same way. So, but finally the next year I started writing this song, and now it's made it onto my new record, which I'll be sharing a lot of songs from this evening. And it's a song about Nashville, but really what it's about is about something in Nashville that got me through those initial months after moving to a brand new place and then not being able to leave the house, is every night I would look forward to going out on my back deck and watching the fireflies. it was just like a light show, a private light show every night, and it was something to look forward to when we didn't have a whole lot to look forward to. So here's my song, inspired by those magical little creatures called Fireflies.
Wraps you in a blanket every time you step outside. They say mosquitoes like you if you're sweet, so I pretend that I'm not sweet. Still they eat me alive. But it's all so green on a nearly summer night in early June. California, I think of you all the time, but I don't know that I'll be back anytime soon, 'cause it feels like home now. Come out. The nights are warmer than you'd think, but as the sun begins to sink, you hear the evening melody. Cicada symphony, and it's oh so green here in Tennessee, and my birthday's getting close in late July. California, I think of you all the time, and you know say goodbye, 'cause it feels like home now when the fireflies come out. And I think I'll stay a while, at least long enough to catch some of this lightning in a bottle, see if I can make it last. Oh, but it's oh so green here in Tennessee, even when the summer nights start turning cold. California, I think of you all the time, and I'll come back now and then to say hello. But it feels like home now when the fireflies come out.
Ah. There's no fireflies up here, right?
No.
I know. That was one thing that, like in California, had no fireflies. Then I moved to Nashville. I got fireflies. I also got a lot more humidity and a lot more mosquitoes. But
I think they're on the other side of the Rocky Mountains.
okay, right? Is the Rockies like the divide of the mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, not mosquitoes, the fireflies. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, So there's my Nashville song, my unconventional Nashville song. And it does mention California a lot because I lived in California for about 12 years, and that's where I kind of started my music career. And I was so inspired my whole life with Southern California music, like the LA, country rock scene of the 70s was like the soundtrack of my childhood, thanks to my parents. So when I moved out there, I just felt so much closer to, the Byrds and Graham Parsons and Joni Mitchell and like so much of the stuff that, Joni Mitchell wasn't from LA, but that sound of LA was very inspiring. And so my album right before my new one had a lot of California influence. And I liked following that first song up with a California song that I've been playing a lot this year. Mostly I started playing it toward the beginning of the year after several of my friends lost everything in the fires in LA. Because this song is about that. I wrote it 7 or 8 years ago, watching what was then the worst wildfire California had ever seen. It was called the Thomas Fire. It was in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. I don't know if you guys particularly remember it. Now it's like hard to even keep them straight because every year there's a new worse wildfire, and of course you guys battle them up here. And when I wrote this song, I focused on a phenomenon we have down there called the Santa Ana winds, which you've probably heard of. And really what this song has come to symbolize for me is that no matter where you live, Mother Nature is getting angrier by the day. And this is about those Santa Ana winds, so they're just going to blow no matter what. But no matter where you live, now I have tornado sirens going off every week in Nashville. And so here's my song about the Santa Ana winds.
Like he thinks that you don't know, and the shelters, they're all stocked up with prayers and with hopes. And it's get out now and on your way with whatever you can hold, while the Santa Ana winds just blow. Helicopters leaving, turning eddies into smoke, and it's hot and thick and black, and it's hanging in your throat. Flames that make your neighborhood eat you out of house and home, while the Santa Ana winds just blow. Turn
writing that song, I actually wrote it with a friend of mine who lives in Texas named Andrew Delaney, in case anyone's heard his name before. He's a great songwriter. And we were writing about these fires, and as we were writing about it, you know, that fire we were writing about was mostly in Santa Barbara. And he goes, I wonder who Saint Barbara was. Like, where did Santa Barbara come from? So we Googled it, and Wikipedia told us that, among other things, Saint Barbara was the patron saint of firefighters. So that's where you hear in the chorus, light a candle to Saint Barbara and watch it burn. It was just this eerie coincidence when we were writing this song, so we had to put Saint Barbara in our ode to that destructive nature. So we will all hope for an easier wildfire season this year, whatever that looks like. And now I'm going to go back to Nashville to sing a song that I wrote with a friend there. And it was interesting, you know, I mentioned that I wrote that last song with my friend Andrew Delaney, but until I moved to Nashville, I had very seldomly written with other people. Usually it was just me in my bedroom by myself, you know, just crying and writing songs. But then I moved to Nashville and I realized that co-writing is such a huge part of that city. I started calling it the Nashville handshake because I would, like, as soon as I moved to town, I mean, pretty much everyone you meet there is a songwriter. So then you're like, hey, I'm moved to town. They're like, great, you want to write a song sometime? And I'm like, okay. Like, it was like the first thing out of everyone's mouths. It was such an interesting way to, like, get to know people. It's like, instead of getting coffee, you just sit down and you try to write a song. And you get to know people very well that way because you're just, like, spilling your guts for this stranger. And, you know, and sometimes it goes very terribly. And then other times you write these beautiful songs that you never would have come up with if it was just you by yourself in a room. And so it has, like, opened up this whole new way of approaching songs. And pretty quickly I realized I could do this to other people. So I met this girl who I was already a fan of, about a month after moving to Nashville. And her name is Crystal Bowersocks. Anybody heard of Crystal? You guys should look her up. So she was on, I think, the 3rd season of American Idol, which was the last season I watched, I believe. And I remember her coming out and I was cheering her on. She's just this cute little white girl from Ohio. She had dreadlocks and was, like, belting Janis Joplin. I remember her getting out there and, like, singing Me and Bobby McGee. And I was just like, this is awesome. She should win. And I know it's not a Janis Joplin song, but she was doing a Janis Joplin version. I always like to make sure I give credit where credit's due, Chris Christopherson. But, so I met Crystal, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. It's like, hey, you want to write a song sometime?
What's your last name?
Bowersocks.
Bowersocks?
Yes. An interesting last name. Ends with an X, so it's not like socks on your feet.
Right.
But she said yes. You know, that's the other thing, is that people mostly say yes. Even when they've never met you, they have no idea if you're any good, if you're going to get along at all. She's like, sure, let's try it. So she invited me over to her house, and, you know, and we're chit-chatting, trying to figure out if we have anything in common, because that's usually nice to figure out when you're trying to write a song together. And she and I both spend a lot of time on the road, basically living on the road in a van of some kind, usually. And so we were trading road stories, and somehow it turned to, like, romantic encounters on the road. And we found that something we had in common is that we had both been swept off our feet, both literally and figuratively, by cowboys in Texas who could two-step. And so those stories never end well, so they make great songs. Who wants a happy ending? Not a songwriter. So we decided to kind of pool our experiences as we're chatting about it, and we came up with this song, and I ended up putting it on my new record, and I love it. It's called When This Song Ends. Two-step, no cream, no sugar, a man of simple taste, but a heart not
that song could change everything. And the music plays, he takes her hand, they twirl and sway like waves on sand. It's the only way he'll ever let a woman close. There's no time to think about what comes next, or where they'll be when this song ends. She's always been the kind to take it slow, but wherever he leads, she'll go. And she wasn't looking to find a fabled man. She's been broken by every charming face that took hers in his hands. The dance, the mood, the man, they've all been wrong. She only knows the steps when she's in his arms. When the music plays, he takes her hand, twirl and sway like waves on sand. It's the only way he'll ever let a woman close. There's no time to think about what comes next, or where they'll be when this song ends. She's always been the kind to take it slow, but wherever he leads, she'll go. If she takes the chance, she might get hurt. This dance could be their last or their first. And the music plays, he takes her hand, twirl and sway like waves on sand. It's the only way he'll ever let a woman close. No time to think about what comes next, where they'll be when this song ends. She's always been a kind to take it slow, but wherever he leads, she'll have to close her eyes and trust her feet. Wherever he leads, she'll go.
Gotta love a good two-stepping cowboy song. Okay. I think I'm gonna do a song that I always have to do early in the set because it's probably the hardest song I sing. And I did not write this song, but I believe it is my favorite song that has ever been written or performed. And I've been singing this song at basically every show for the last 8 years. Because 8 years ago, I got to sing this song at an event in Los Angeles where for one night only they brought back this iconic music venue called the Palomino Club. Anybody? Oh, I see some nodding. Some people familiar with the Palomino? I mean, it was like the home of country music for about 50 years in LA. It closed in, I think, the early 90s. I never got to go, but I always heard so many stories from the place. And about 8 years ago, the women who run my record label, they discovered that the building that housed the Palomino in North Hollywood was still standing. And it was actually being used as an event space that you could rent for like weddings and corporate functions and things. Which is odd because it's in like this industrial little kind of rundown area of North Hollywood off of like Lancashire. I'm not sure why anyone would want to get married there. But nevertheless, they're like, wow, the Palomino Club is kind of still there. And they had recently discovered like the original big neon sign that hung outside the building was in this museum in the valley. And so they started thinking, they're like, could we bring back the Palomino Club? And apparently there's been some attempts to actually buy back the building and fully reopen the club, and for some reason these people that own it for this event space like will not sell it. We think it's probably a front for something, but we're like, how could you possibly be making that much money on weddings? But so like, since we couldn't actually buy back the building and open it, they're like, let's just do like a one-night event. And they brought in all these people who had worked there and who had played there. They hung old show posters. They put the stage back in the corner. Like, and they brought in all these people who had worked there to be like, yes, this went there, this went there. Like, they redecorated it just like it was back in its like heyday in the 70s. And it was this huge, you know, sold out red carpet press event. And it was headlined by artists who had gotten their start there, because they had this talent night every, you know, once a week. And so a lot of like up and comers, they would go, you know, test their talents at the Palomino Club. Artists like Jim Lauderdale, if you're familiar with him, Rosie Flores, James Intfeld, and a few others. And then some of us current up and comers got to play also. And I actually got to be the first artist on the stage that night, introduced as the first artist on the Palomino Club stage in like 28 years. It was insane. But I had to do a song by an artist who had actually played at the Palomino, since this was a tribute to what that club stood for. And I knew immediately that I had to do a Linda Ronstadt song. Because if there was a singer who made me want to be a singer, it was Linda Ronstadt. Like, she just sang everything, and that's what I've kind of taken into my career. Like, I just want to sing a little bit of everything. And this song was always my favorite of hers, so I asked if I could do this song, and they were a little skeptical. Triple wide trailer, but it's a cool dive bar. They have music every night of the week. Although, I will say that, like, sometimes people care that you're playing, and other times they really don't. You know, it's a hang, there's pool tables, there's a bar, you know, like, all the things. So, and I booked a show at Dee's to celebrate this song coming out, and they booked me on, like, a Tuesday night at, like, 10 p.m. Me and a guitar, and I'm like, no one's gonna care. But I was new to town, I was like, let's just see what happens, you know? And so I show up, no one cares. But then I go to play that song, and the whole bar just... like, you could hear a pin drop. Like, people playing pool, like, stopped playing pool to, like, turn around and watch. And I was like, I totally messed up, like, the whole second verse, because I was like, why are you listening? It totally threw me off. I had no idea what was going on. But, you know, I finished my set. It was great. And then the sound engineer came up to me after the show, and he's like, there's somebody I want you to meet. And he walks me over to the bar, and he says, so this is Britt Ronstadt. So sitting at the bar watching me play all night is Linda Ronstadt's young, beautiful cousin, who like looks, like once he said it, I was like, you look like Linda Ronstadt. Like if she was like 35 years old again, and just gorgeous, and I was just stunned. And then of course I got my wits about me, and I was like, you want to write a song sometime? And she actually doesn't really write songs, but she did get the Ronstadt pipes. Like, she can sing like nobody's business. And so we did some live streams together during the pandemic, because then everything shut down, and we wanted to like sing together. And so it's pretty cool getting to be friends with Ronstadt, considering how much I idolized Linda. And she has said on occasion, like, maybe someday we could go to the Bay Area and I could introduce you to Linda. And I'm like, just give me like, you know, 5 minutes notice, and I will cancel everything on my calendar and I will be there. But I don't know if it'll happen. Obviously Linda is not doing very well these days, if you've, you know, followed her decline, and the fact that she can't sing anymore is such a tragedy and makes me want to sing her songs even more. So, hey there, come on in if you like, or you can sit there if you like. That's my friend Ashley, everybody.
Yeah, you made it. I was waiting for you. I was keeping the door.
Oh, thank you.
I'm playing Ashley's guitar right now. She was kind enough to loan me her guitar and a bed to sleep at in her house. So,
This is amazing.
So, yes, I'm just telling my Linda Ronstadt story. But we will move on. I think we've talked about Linda Ronstadt long enough, although I can never talk about her too much, because she is amazing. And although Although we will go from there to a somewhat new song in my repertoire that has not been recorded, that I wrote with another exciting new collaborator in Nashville by the name of Ranger Doug. I don't know if anybody's heard of Ranger Doug or his band called Riders in the Sky.
Oh.
Okay. So yes, Riders in the Sky, iconic Western band who've been keeping the tradition of like the Sons of the Pioneers and the singing cowboy alive for like the last 50 years. And so when I moved to Nashville, everybody's like, you got to meet Ranger Doug. And the reason I said that is because Ranger Doug is a yodeler. And I am a yodeler. Yes, exactly. And I've made it my mission to try to bring back yodeling. And I feel like if I have Ranger Doug on my side, like we can't lose, right? I just need like someone with a little more clout than me to help me bring back yodeling. So I basically like stalked him after a show one day because he plays every Monday night at this venue called 3rd and Lindsley with a band called the Time Jumpers, which is a fabulous band if you're ever in Nashville. Every Monday night, it is like a just insane show. So I just like kind of hung out for the show, waiting for him to come out from backstage. And I was like, hey, my name's Alice. I'm a yodeler. And he was like, cool, we should write a song sometime. I was hoping he would say that. So we've been writing songs together. And I will say, if you're not familiar with Riders in the Sky, one of their big claims to fame is that they wrote a lot of the music for Toy Story 2. Like the theme for Woody's Roundup. And like Ranger Doug himself wrote the Jessie the Yodeling Cowgirl song. And he tells me often that if he had known me back then, I would have been Jessie the Yodeling Cowgirl. And I feel like I've missed out on my greatest calling in life. And I really hope they give Jessie another song one day. But this is one of our songs we've written. We might record sometime later this winter, maybe. He's game for like doing like maybe an EP in the spirit of bringing back yodeling. And I've never done a yodeling record. I do it at my shows all the time, and I've just never done a record of all yodeling. So I think it might be time. But this is one of the first songs we wrote, which only has a little bit of yodeling, but it really is about the reason that I wanted to write with Ranger Doug is, you know, I think keeping these old traditions of music alive in the current, you know, music culture is a really important thing to do. So this song is called As Long as There's Lonesome.
Out with the old, in with the new. That's what they say, but it's not always true. You can't leave behind all the wisdom we've learned through the love and the loss and the songs that we've heard. As long as there's heartache, as long as there's pain, songs bring the sunshine that follows the rain. As
I am going to follow that up with a proper yodel, since that one was just kind of a teaser to some yodeling. And if I'm going to bring back yodeling, I got to show you like the full force of what it could be in the world again these days. And this is one of my favorite yodels to do. It was written and performed by a Texas yodeler by the name of Don Walser, who they called the Pavarotti of the Plains. And one of the best yodelers I've ever heard in my life. And he was really key to bringing like a resurgence of classic country and yodeling to Austin in like the 80s and 90s. And he was very famous in Texas. Out of Texas, not so much. But when I started touring in Texas and people found out I could yodel, they were always like, do you do any Don Walser? And I was like, who? So I had to learn a Don Walser tune. And this is one of his signature songs. It might be the signature song. And it features a yodel that I've heard called the turkey gobble yodel. So prepare yourselves. This is called the Rolling Stone from Texas.
I'm a rolling stone from Texas, a rolling stone from the plains. I'm a rolling stone from Texas, boys, I long to be back there again. Oh, say, are you from Texas? Well, that's what I'm wanting to know. 'Cause if we're both from Texas, boys, let's bundle up our clothes and go.
Sounds like a turkey gobble, right?
Say a rolling stone never gathers no moss as long as it's rolling along. But I don't care if I gather any moss if it's in my Texas home. And I got a little girl waiting, and her name is Patricia Jane. And I'll never be happy till I'm by her side out on those West Texas plains.
Bring that back. Like, I mean, I don't know why it fell out of fashion to do that, but
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I know. And it's funny, you know, like really up until like the 50s, every country singer yodeled. So it couldn't have been that hard. People just don't try these days. They don't spend the time to learn to yodel. But, you know, that's all right. At least I got my own little private niche here. Okay. Now back to some original songs. There will be more yodeling later, don't worry. But you can over yodel though. You don't want to saturate with yodeling, you know? Sprinkles of yodeling is really kind of, yeah. And this is a song that's on my new record, which I have copies of on vinyl and CDs in case you still have a place to play either of those. And if not, they look great hanging on your wall or used as a coaster. It's fine. I don't care what you do with it. And this is the first song on my new record. And actually, I didn't write this song until after I had booked the studio time. I was preparing to go in the studio, and I felt like I was missing a song, honestly. But, you know, my friend KP, who runs my label, she was like, I think you've got the songs. Just go record a record. She introduced me to this producer. He's amazing. But I felt like I was missing a song. And then in the weeks leading up to going to the studio, I wrote this one. Because it turned out all I needed to get my last song was a whole lot of anxiety about going into the studio. And, because this is my first Nashville record done the Nashville way. This producer I met is a session drummer mostly. He's, like right now he's in Kenny Chesney's band, but he's played with Dolly Parton and Martina McBride, and he was on the first 5 Taylor Swift records when she was still country. And so he's one of the drummers you call in Nashville, but he also produces records, and my friend introduced me to him, and he's like, your songs are brilliant, let's make a record. He's like, but we're going to do it the Nashville way. And I was like, well, what does that mean? He's like, so I'll call my buddies, and all of his buddies are also like top tier session players in Nashville. And so he's like, we'll go in the studio, we can record it, we'll just need 2 days. And I was like, that's pretty quick for 10, 11 songs. But really the thing about the Nashville way, the way they like to do it and the way that causes great deals of anxiety, is that not only would I not be meeting the band or rehearsing with them, but the band actually didn't even want to hear my songs until the day of in the studio. And that's when the panic started to set in. I was like, excuse me? We're going in blind. Okay. And he kept telling me, like, that's actually when the magic happens in Nashville. He's like, if you get some of the best players in the world in a room together and you play them a song, their first instinct and playing off of each other is going to be way better than if they like hear it ahead of time and they try to come up with certain ideas and maybe it doesn't match the ideas of the other guys, and like then we have to try to figure out how does it all fit together. He's like these guys make records all day long and they are good at like hearing a song and going, I think this is what it needs. And I was like, that does sound magical and terrifying. But he seemed like a real nice guy, so I'm like, I'm gonna trust you. Here's all my money. This better be good. So we went in the studio, and so I wrote this song leading up to that, and it's a song about a feeling that I had struggled with most of my life, but that was really peaking leading up to going into this session. A feeling of, some days you just think, people are going to discover that I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was sure as we found out, for the fraud that I am in the studio with these, master session players in Nashville. So, but it turned out it was pretty magical, and I got a great song out of it. So, money well spent, maybe. So here's my song called Imposter. Wait, that's not how it starts. Hold on. Wrong song.
Someday someone's gonna find out my biggest secret. I know they will. It's just a matter of time. You can look right at me and never even see it, 'cause I've perfected the art of seeming fine even when I'm not. Someday someone's gonna figure out what I've been hiding. I know they will, 'cause I can't keep a straight face, and still no one will ever say I wasn't trying. I worked damn hard for this epic fall from grace, just like I was taught. And so what if they do? So what if all of my worst fears come true? Sure, the sky might fall, someone found me out. Someday someone's gonna realize I'm an imposter. I know they will. It's just a question of when they'll shake their heads and say, well, this is gonna cost her. They won't understand why I risked it all just to pretend that I was someone else. Someday someone's gonna find out that I've been faking. I know they will, 'cause I can't keep this up, and I'm the one whose heart I have been breaking. Who'd have thought that I was worthy of love? And so what they do, so what if all of my worst fears come true? Sure, the sky might fall and the truth might turn to doubt, but it's time someone found me out. Do we have any other imposters in the room tonight? So we released that as a single for my new record, and we also released this next one, which is one that I wrote with my friend Melody Walker that Abby mentioned earlier. I think she said that Melody's band Front Country played here at some point. I don't know if any of you guys saw Front Country. But Melody is one of my favorite singers of all time. Actually, right before I left on tour, we got to do a round at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville together, and she had pulled up on her phone. She's like, I just got this notification that the first show we ever did together was 13 years ago in San Diego. Wow. Yeah, it was really, because we kept going, like, I know it was a long time ago. Like, how long? She was like, I finally found it on my phone. It was 13 years ago. And I still remember that day. It was this little venue in San Diego called Lestat's that isn't even there anymore. And I just remember from the first moment she opened her mouth, I was like, can we be friends? Because your voice is amazing. And so we've been friends ever since, but we didn't write a song together until we moved to Nashville, because that's what you do in Nashville, you write songs together. And Melody can also yodel. She doesn't really like lean into it the way I do. She's not fighting to bring it back. I don't know why, but she can if you make her. And so when we got together to write a song, it's like, we got to put some yodeling in this, right? And I will say Melody has recently gotten more famous because she won a Grammy this year for co-writing a song called American Dreamin' with Sierra Farrell. If you haven't heard of Sierra Farrell, look her up. She like swept the American Roots category this year at the Grammys. Insane. And so Melody wrote this song. Now she has a Grammy. I mostly say that to be like, when we were thinking like, okay, let's put some yodeling in this song, you have to hesitate because you're like, you put too much yodeling in a song, it's definitely not winning a Grammy. You gotta be careful with the yodeling, you know, just a little sprinkle of yodeling. So we tried to like put some yodeling in the song in a way that like you can't even really tell it's yodeling, you know. I like to say it's like when you have toddlers who don't want to eat their vegetables, so you just chop them up real small, you put them in mac and cheese, and they have no idea they're eating something good for them. And and they're just like, ooh, this tastes good. And you're like, it's the yodeling, you just didn't even know it was in there. So here is our song where we attempted to do that. Put some vegetables in mac and cheese. This is called Bonfire. Just a spark could make you see your way to me. endlessly as the salt burns down my cheeks. I'll be up on fire for you. I'll be up on fire sun sinks down beneath the sand. Watched you slip through my hands. Golden embers smolder on while the waves welcome the dawn. Wondering if you're really gone. I'll be up on fire for you. I'll be up on Where were you sailing? Don't you know I'm still waiting here on the shore? I'll be up on fire for
Okay, so we're hoping for a Grammy. Let's everybody cross their fingers. Okay, now I want to share with you the saddest song on the record. I love a sad song. I don't know about you guys. This song is special to me because it's one of those rare songs that just seemed to write itself, which almost never happens. Most of the time, me and songs, we're like battling it out, you know? There are some days that I think I'm never gonna win again. Like, I'm just like, I don't think I have any other good songs. Like, these are all just crap. But then every once in a while, it's almost like a song was just kind of like floating by. And all you have to do is just like pluck it out of the air, and you have a song. And this is one of those songs, and although I will say that it helps with the floating by if you just have recently had your heart broken real good. Because then there's just a lot of feelings going on, a lot of things you are trying to process, things you want to say, and I had just gone through maybe the worst heartbreak, at least so far. It might be topped, who knows. And I was playing a show in northern New Mexico. I was on the road near Taos, if you've ever been through there. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. and I was very sad, and I just wanted, like, I had the morning off before my show, and I just went out to the Rio Grande Gorge that stretches through that area of New Mexico, and I just wanted to stare into this gorge. It's one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been, and I thought, okay, this is gonna heal me, right? But you know, it's the desert. I'm trying to sit there and be healed, but it's like very sunny, and I'm like tucked myself under this little prickly sagebrush, trying not to get sunburnt. And I just started singing this song into the air. I had no intention to write a song. It just started writing itself. It's called I Was Wrong.
Maybe I never really believed you would love me. Maybe I never thought that you'd be the one. Maybe I always knew that you'd break me in two. Hoped I was wrong. Maybe I never really trusted your touches, the way you'd stop me just to say I was so beautiful. Maybe I always knew you were too good to be true. God, I hoped I was wrong. And why do I always ignore that feeling? Oh, like I'm stepping right off of a cliff, as if the rocks down below won't hurt, but I know that one day I'll feel all of it, and I want it so bad to believe that I'd found him, the man that I've seen every night in my dreams, the one I always knew would look just like you. I was wrong.
Sad song. Love it. If I ever do find the right man, I don't know what I'm going to write about anymore. Actually, these last few songs, like 3 or 4 more songs left for you guys tonight. Probably 4, actually. None of them are about boys. Look at that. So, I can do it. I want to share with you the title track off my new record, which is a song called Here I Am. And it's inspired by a poem that my cousin sent me called The Song of Americana, which is apparently the oldest known poem from the British Isles. And she just loves this poem. And she's like, I just want you to read it and see if it inspires anything for you. And she sent me this whole article, because of course it's like this ancient poem written in Old English that has many different translations and interpretations. But essentially it's a series of I am statements. I am the stag of the 7 times, and all this archaic language and things. And I am the wind that sweeps across the water. And it makes reference to all these different natural occurrences and places and And some of the interpretations say, well, this is obviously meant to be God speaking, I am. But then other interpretations say, well, actually, maybe what if this was the first recording of us contemplating who we are in all of these things? That maybe we are all of these things. So I took a little bit of all of those things and put them into this song called Here I Am.
Like the 7-point buck taunts the hunter, and the hawk scans the ground for its prey. The salmon swim upstream undaunted, for reasons no one can say. I am all of it. I am none of it. Mystery in all of history, still so insignificant. A grain of sand in some greater plan, with lungs that breathe and a heart that beats in ways I don't understand. Oh, here I am. Stonehenge is waiting for sunrise, like the dandelions wait for the wind. The pharaohs were buried with secrets that beg to be puzzled again. And me, I am waiting for nothing and everything at the same time, trying so hard to get somewhere when I've already arrived. I am all of it. I am none of it. The greatest mystery in all of history, and still so insignificant. A grain of sand in some greater plan, with lungs that breathe and a heart that beats in ways I don't understand. Oh, here I am. Oh, here I am.
What did you say?
That's your grand.
That's your grand.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I wasn't even sure if I was going to put that song on the record, and then it became the title track. So I was like, oh, it's got all this, just imagery and stuff. Maybe people are not going to resonate with this. And then, people loved it. And so I'm glad I put it on the record. Most of my family loved it. And they're like, you have to put this on the record. They're like, we will not let you not put this on the record. So thanks, Mom and Dad. They have good taste. And they've been to all of my shows. So, okay, just a few songs left. And I want to sing this next one, another one from my new record. And this is one that I wasn't sure I would ever actually even sing. I wrote this song a few years ago now, after waking up to the news of the riots in Minneapolis after George Floyd's death. And I didn't think my voice was needed in the conversation. I had to write something. I don't know, I was just overwhelmed by watching what was going on, but then every once in a while I would just put it into a show if I felt like it, and every time I did, people said, you need to sing that song. And so I ended up putting on the record, and lately I've been singing it at every single show. It's called We're Better Than This.
Today I woke up to find the world on fire, and I was happy to see it burn, 'cause maybe that's what it takes to ignite and inspire. So hand me a torch, it's my turn. 'Cause this is not who we are. I refuse to believe, but it's right there in front of my face. So do we wanna see brighter day? Oh yeah, it's time we acted that way. I can't know the pain there in your heart. I can't know the burden you carry, but I can feel the weight, heavy and dark, of everyone that we bury. And this is not who we are. I refuse to believe, but it's right there in front of my face. Oh, do we want to see that brighter day? Oh yeah, it's time we acted that way. Oh, now something's gotta give, 'cause we're better than this. This is not who we are. I refuse to believe, but it's right there in front of my face. Do we wanna see that brighter day? Oh, it's time we acted that way. It's time we acted that way.
So yes, one song to acknowledge the giant elephant in the room of what our country is right now.
Yeah.
I joined they formed a Nashville chapter of this chorus called the Resistance Revival Chorus that I think started in Brooklyn. And I've gone to a couple of the meetings. I'm almost never in Nashville, so I haven't been able to go that often. But one of the things they say in their emails when they send it is that joy is also an act of resistance. And I cling to that.
Yeah. Right here.
You know, like, okay, I can try to spread joy, you know, and because we do have to remain joyful in the face of so much terrifying stuff going on. So, whoo! And Go Portland. You guys have been standing up. You've been resisting hard, and it is amazing. And I've been spending a lot of time in Chicago, where my parents are, and they're in the suburbs, so we haven't like really encountered much of what's going on there. But it's just, we are better than this. So I hope we remember that soon. And now for some joy. I've got a couple more songs, and these are uplifting songs. Look at me, not sad songs. And this song is the title track from my last record, not the new one. And this is a song I wrote about chasing after your dreams, even when it's terrifying, because usually it is. And I spent most of my life trying not to chase this dream, you know? I started writing songs when I was like a teenager. I loved it so much, but I was like, but that's not a job. Like, I gotta get a job. And so, you know, I got some jobs and tried to have jobs, and I was just always waiting until I could go home and pick up my guitar. And finally, about 12 years ago, I decided life was short, and I had to figure out if I could make this my job. And thanks to people like you for showing up. Thanks to them for hosting this concert. Honestly, house concerts are one of the major reasons I am able to make a living on the road. And it's folks like this who, you guys keep me going. So thank you for letting me do this.
You spread joy.
Well, thank you. And so I wrote this song when I was still living in Southern California, and I was thinking about like my musical dreams as being like this little speck out on the horizon that I had to sail off after. I had no idea if I was ever gonna reach it, and I'm still sailing, you know, and but I just had to try. I had to try to get there. And I always just want to tell people, like, if there's something calling your name on the horizon, I hope that you will sail off after it too. And it did help that I had parents who didn't mind me moving home for a few years while I figured out how to pay for this dream. But I don't live with them anymore. Look at me. Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, so this song is called The Blue, and it goes like this.
Sail away into the blue. It's out there waiting, could be waiting for you. You're only scared of the things that you can't see. And the most beautiful things you only see in your dreams. It's all a mystery, an untold story, a blank page waiting for a line, a metronome just marking time. And now you stand right at the edge, where you'll go and where you've been. The only certainty is you and the blue. And the blue. Sail away, oh sail away, till you can't see. A speck of land, or the person you used to be. A place where you can't hear what they all say. Oh, and all the pain and the shame of the world fall away. It's all a mystery, an untold story, a blank page waiting for a line, a metronome
reached the grand finale of the show, and I do call it the grand finale because I never really do encores. This is the last song. I feel like the encore thing is kind of weird because also like I'm always scared like what if I save my best song and they don't ask for an encore, you know? So I'm just like let's just eliminate that possibility and just do one more song. But I gotta do some yodeling for you again before the show is over. So, and this song also, like if I do it and then people want an encore, like this is like the fat lady has sung and we gotta leave the building sort of song. Like there's no following this.
Touché.
So, don't even try to ask for an encore. I won't do it. But this is my song I wrote about teaching myself how to yodel. And with particularly, awesome audiences, what I like to do is give a little yodeling lesson.
All right.
So you guys get to yodel too. I can tell you guys want to yodel. Like, I've been sitting there just being like, when do we get our turn? So, and I figure, if I'm going to bring back yodeling, I could really use a yodeling army. And so the more people I can convince to start yodeling, like I think it just increases the chances of it becoming a popular thing that could win a Grammy again one day. And so,
When you come back here, maybe we will all be waiting for you and we'll all start yodeling.
I mean, this is my dream. So I am 100% on board with that. If you guys want to start like a yodeling club while I'm gone, like so you can all get together to practice.
We gotta learn D flat though, don't we?
What's that?
We gotta learn how to do it in D flat, right?
Well, this particular song, actually, it's in G, but I like doing it in this key for some reason. I don't know why I don't just play it in G. I just like to be complicated. Okay, so this song, I wrote it after I taught myself to yodel in college. And the reason I taught myself to yodel in college is because I was a huge fan of Jewel. I don't know if you guys ever heard Jewel yodel. But when I did, I was like, well, really, I just wanted to grow up to be Jewel. So I was like...
You mean Jewel, the singer?
The singer, yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen her.
Yeah, and she is a
She
phenomenal
yodels?
yodeler. Yeah, like she
Oh.
grew up in Alaska with like a singing family. Apparently they had to like yodel before they'd get dessert every night or something. They had to like practice their yodeling, and they were like in this like singing family troupe and like would tour around. And so I was like, well, if I'm gonna grow up to be Jewel, I guess I gotta learn how to yodel. And it was just so cool that I just couldn't help myself. So I taught myself to yodel one summer in college, and now it's been a couple years. But I wrote this song after that because I was like, well, now I need a song about it. So I've been singing it ever since, and now we're gonna teach you guys to yodel. But first, I'll yodel. I'll give you a little lesson. And thank you guys for being here. This has been a wonderful show. I hope you will buy some coasters for you. This is called A Little Yodel. Well, in case you haven't heard, I like to sing a little now and then, but then one day my world was a change. And I heard a voice sing loud and clear like I had never heard, and I knew that I wanted to sing that way. Well, I sang that song so many times it was kind of absurd, but I had to glue those sounds into my head. And I'm sure I drove my friends insane with my incessant practicing as I sang these words over and over. Well, now once I got the basics down, the lows, the lows, the lees, everything just fell right into place. My voice figured out what to do, skip through the notes with ease, and my fingers on the string All right, so all yodeling is going from your chest voice down here where you talk. Ah, everybody repeat after me. Ah. Never mind the fact that men and women's registers are different. We'll just all sing the same note. Ah. And then you're going to go into your head voice, your falsetto, your Disney princess voice, if you will. Something like that, round about there. But now the trick with yodeling is you want it to pop in between. That's the hard part. That's the part that takes some practice. That's the part that any good voice teacher will teach you not to do, because, opera singers aren't supposed to pop between registers, but I've given up on my opera career, so it's okay. Just leaning into the pop. So it does take a lot of air. You're just sliding between registers. Yo, yeah, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Till everyone hates you. So just for fun, let's try this. If you guys all want to repeat after me, we'll do a little call and response. You can try out your yodeling muscles. Ready? Yo, yo, yeah, yo, yo. I mean, that is some good effort, guys. I like it.
Some of us just should.
And then, you slowly, you gotta make it a little more complicated, a little more, until you get to like, and when in doubt, you just go, tee, tee, tee. So you're like, did they yodel? Well, go home and practice. Start your yodeling club. I think that this could catch on. I think you guys have some potential. You just got to do a little practice. Unfortunately, you can't really teach someone to yodel in 30 seconds. But it at least gives you the basics that now you can go home and regale your friends and family with.
How did you teach yourself to yodel?
Pretty much doing that. Yeah. And singing along to the Jewel song. I just sang along with it so much. I'm just like, I'm gonna figure out how to make this happen. And I was just persistent. It just takes some practice. It's muscle memory like anything else with singing, where once you kind of feel where that pop should be, you're like, oh, I could put it anywhere. Ooh, hey, hey, hey. You guys could do it too. Possibly. Soon all that just got too easy for me, and I had to push myself for something more. And the only way that I could think to make it any harder was just to go faster. appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That was amazing. That was so great. I feel
Maybe Abby has a pen we could borrow, because mine is upstairs. Just like a regular old pen, just to put on my email list. Here you go.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, she's got one. Abby's got one. Perfect. That appears to work. Yes. Yes, and actually, let me run upstairs and get all of my pens, like my Sharpies, and I will be right back, so that way I can sign that for you. Okay. I think I left my purse upstairs this time. Yes. Okay.
Let's see, I got 4. 2 are for live stream and 2 are stationary. And I have 2 each 6, which is just waiting.
I real quick to get my purse so I can get my Sharpies. I forgot to bring.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, I was sending this to Xander.